live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and blasttheradio.com. This is The Lowell Green Show. The number to call and be heard around the world is 613-413-2217. Or email Lowell at blasttheradio.com. And now, here is Lowell Green.
Thank you, John. Stephen Harper once asked me, Lowell, what do your listeners want? I replied, I said a number of things, but I said, Mr. Harper, one of the things that Canadians really want is to feel proud of their country. And he nodded. He agreed with me. I want to tell you, I don't feel very proud of my country today. And I don't think you should either. More than 2 weeks ago, a group of Canadian business people asked Trudeau to immediately ship to Ukraine the Harpoon anti-ship missiles that now sit gathering dust in storage someplace in Canada. In a private conversation, Ukrainian President Zelensky asked Trudeau specifically for those weapons. We fear the Russians are going to launch an amphibious landing near Odessa on the Black Sea, he explained. If they know we have Harpoon missiles, it might stop them from the invasion. That's the president of Ukraine asking Trudeau directly. From what I understand, it's reported in the National Post today, we have somewhere between 120 and 200 of these Harpoon missiles in storage. They're in storage because they're not needed. They will soon be replaced by newer models, but are still quite effective. In other words, we don't need the missiles. They could save many lives, perhaps even prevent an invasion in Ukraine. But while one side of his mouth from the Prime Minister promises that we have your back, we stand shoulder to shoulder with the brave people of Ukraine, but the other side of his mouth, he refuses to ship these much needed, desperately needed missiles. Why? Why? We don't need them. Ukraine needs them desperately. Could save many lives. For 2 weeks, those Harpoon missiles in storage, gathering dust, while they are desperately needed in Ukraine. I ask you, as a Canadian, why? What's wrong with a country that has the means to help but refuses to do so? We have no need for the missiles. They're going to be replaced by newer models. They are still quite effective. And in all probability, when the new models arrive, expected in the next few months, these missiles will likely be scrapped. Columnist John Ivison, writing in the National Post today, has an excellent column that explains it all, and I urge everyone to read it. If you don't get the Post, just Google Ivison weapons. He really, really, really is upset. There's no question. He lashes out at Trudeau. The headline of his column, I think, is very apropos. Ukraine needs weapons. We send words. That's the headline of John Ivison's column in the National Post. And that's pretty well it, folks. No weapons, certainly no heavy weapons, just meetings. Our defense minister is in meetings right now, apparently. Meetings and words. Lots and lots and lots of words. Words, 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 but no weapons. Even countries like Australia are shipping heavy weapons to Ukraine, providing them with virtually everything they asked for. Ukraine went to Australia. The Ukraine knows pretty well what weapons are available in each country, and specifically went to Australia and asked for some heavy weapons. Australia is right now in the process of shipping them. We in Canada, I repeat, we have anti-ship missiles, not needed here, in storage, gathering dust, but Trudeau refuses to send them. Why? If there are any Liberals or NDP voters listening, let me ask you why. Do you approve of this that your political party is doing? Why is your political party disgracing this great country? I mean, in the past, time and time again, when asked, Canada punched well above its weight. We have come to the defense of democracy and freedom around the world many times. Tens of thousands of Canadians have died in the defense of freedom. But not this time. Conservative John Bazin has raised this issue personally with our defense minister. She refused to even answer him. It's especially galling to realize that these missiles will soon be sent to the scrap heap. But we're so callous, so selfish, so uncaring, we can't be bothered to help the brave Ukrainians fighting off one of the most powerful military and evil forces in the world. Shame on us. Shame, shame, shame. Damn it. What the hell is the matter with us? What's happened to our country, folks? What the hell has happened? What the hell is the matter with you Liberals? What the hell is the matter with you NDP? Have you no conscience whatsoever? It's really quite incredible. John, if you have a neighbor and his backyard catches fire and he asks for a bucket, what do you do?
You have a consultation with the other neighbors, of course. You deliberate, you debate, you put it on Twitter and Facebook and wait for the public response, and then you talk to your spouse finally and maybe eventually hand them a bucket. No, this is ridiculous. You offer them every bit of water and suppressant you've got without even thinking about it. That's standing shoulder to shoulder.
Yeah, I mean, here is Trudeau. And we see him time and time again. We stand shoulder to shoulder. We will do everything we can.
We're not shoulder to shoulder. They're there. We're here. I'm sick of hearing that we're shoulder to shoulder. We're not.
There has been an assumption here, and I think it's been spread by the Trudeau government, that, well, we really don't have weapons that would be of any value. And now it turns out that we do. These Harpoon anti-ship missiles apparently are very effective. They're designed to obviously to attack ships. They're very afraid there's going to be an amphibious landing from the Black Sea. And not only that, but the president, Zelensky, asked Trudeau personally. This is one of the things also that really drives me crazy, John. We were told, and we're supposed to be proud of the fact that, Zelensky had a personal conversation with our prime minister. Well, the reason he had a personal conversation with the prime minister, he asked for these Harpoon missiles. We weren't told that. We weren't told that he asked specifically for some heavy weapons. We're only learning now. Thank God for John Ivison, or somebody's done some research. Please, if you care about this country, if you care about justice, if you care about democracy, if you care about the brave people of Ukraine, read John Ivison and see if you ever vote Liberal again. And I have something else to say. It's not really related to this topic, but I have to get it off my chest. 2 or 3 weeks ago, I raised hell over the fact that Burger King was not closing its franchises in Russia, along with a number of other companies. I think it's disgraceful. And they said, well, our franchises won't close. I don't believe it for a moment. I had a good deal of criticism. People saying, well, in fact, the Russian people are victims themselves. We shouldn't be doing anything to harm the Russian people. Here's what I say. I have absolutely no sympathy, no empathy for the Russian people whatsoever. None whatsoever. I'll tell you why. These are the mothers and fathers and sisters and brothers who raised, obviously, a group of absolute monsters. We now know what they were doing, shooting innocent people, shooting him in the leg first and then shooting them in the head. There is a picture that made me cry. A man just returned from shopping, obviously, walking the street with a bag of groceries. For no reason, they shoot him, and he's lying there with his bag of groceries. throwing bodies down into wells. And we're supposed to feel empathy, sympathy for the mothers and fathers who raised these monsters. Let me tell you right now, you may disagree all you want, but if you raised your children properly with a sense of responsibility, with a conscience, if you gave them any kind of a conscience, people with consciences, they're not bombing children's hospitals. They're not murdering pregnant women. They're not shooting people returning from grocery stores. They're not throwing bodies down in wells. All right. Yeah, so very clearly, there's a lot of guilt to go around in Russia. There's a lot of mothers and fathers and families that raised what turned out to be brutes, monsters. Anyway, I've said it, and, and I'll say it again if you want. But I'm telling you, don't talk to me about the poor people of Russia. They raised some of the worst monsters we have seen since the days of Nazi Germany. John, what have we got?
But who controls that? I mean, is that a directive? Are these people? I mean, if you're in the military, you do what you're told to do. Are they being directed to shoot and kill these people in the streets like this? Bomb ambulances outside children's hospitals? How do you walk away from that, even if your conscience has got the best
Well,
of you?
let me tell you that a good number of Russian soldiers have walked away from it.
Yes, I understand that.
And as a matter of fact, Zelensky has issued a number of notices that if you defect from the Russian army, you will be treated with respect. You will be given every advantage that we have for Ukrainian citizens. So they have a chance to do this. No, I think there's plenty of evidence. I don't think that anybody went out and say, look, you see somebody walking with groceries, shoot them. And if you did, you have absolutely no conscience. What kind of a person can shoot innocent people, can shoot babies? I mean, we haven't seen this kind of brutality, monstrous brutality, since the Nazis. John, what are people saying?
We just had a phone call. They hung up on us. The number here, 613-413-2217. We invite you to call again. I will answer the phone. You will be put automatically on hold. I can't do it all at once. Here are some of the comments coming in on Facebook, on Twitch, and on YouTube for you, Lowell. Peter says, it's more of the same. He and Biden promise all kinds of arms and equipment, but being the political left, they don't want to ship real help. All kinds of talking. It's beyond disgusting, and I hope the leader of Ukraine keeps calling out the two. James says, when asked by the PM, he said it's Harper's fault. Robert says, so once again, this is Harper's fault. On Twitch, Laurentian View Terry says, the question must be asked, which side is Trudeau on? Joshua on Facebook, if it would help Trudeau win an election, he'd do it. He's got at least 3 more years. What does he care? I hope Canadians have long memories. Tom says, in the States right now, Biden is sending weapons to Ukraine. Go to any station, CNN, ABC, NBC, Fox, etc., and you will see. Craig says, Justin cannot or refuses to back up his words with any action.
Now, let me just intrude here. It is true that finally the United States is shipping some heavy weapons. They may have shipped some other, we don't know. They don't announce everything that they send for obvious reasons. But let me point something out. This war is now about 6 weeks old, a month and a half. And we are still in Canada and the United States imposing more sanctions. We're finally deciding that in the States and European nations to send some desperately needed weapons. 6 weeks late. How many thousands of innocent people killed? Why? I mean, we claim that we want to defend democracy, that we want to help these poor people. But 6 months later, we're still imposing new sanctions. What the hell is that? Why? I mean, if these sanctions are supposed to work, why weren't they imposed 6 weeks ago? Jeez. Go ahead, John.
That's my question, too, every time I hear, what do you mean new sanctions? Like something this atrocious? It's all or nothing right from the get-go, in my opinion, but what do I know? 613-413-2217. Lowell, Paul from Canada is on the phone. Paul, go ahead. You're on live with Lowell Green.
Good. Hello, yeah. Paul. Yes, sir.
Hi, Lowell. Yeah, actually, I completely agree with you. The Ukrainians are willing to fight, so let's get them the weapons they need. But my comment is more kind of general. I think that Justin and company have completely lost their way when it comes to the foreign policy. Like, they seem to think that Canada is only good for negotiating and peacekeeping. And I find they just repeatedly, for example, turn back to try to get closer ties with China. And I feel like we're distancing ourselves from our traditional allies, which is the US, Great Britain, Australia, and even Western Europe. And what made things worse was today in the Globe, there was a report that this AUKUS deal that was US, Great Britain, and Australia for the nuclear subs,
Yes,
it's been extended to developing and collaborating on hypersonic weapons and electronic counter warfare. And Canada's not even anywhere part of the negotiations. We're
right.
not even mentioned. We're just, I think
We're excluded.
and
Yeah,
even,
it's true.
and Melanie Jolie says she's going to make our foreign policy a combination of audaciousness and humility. It's like, what planet on earth do these people live on, and are they even aware of our history in Canada?
Well, you make some very good points. Yeah, that's fascinating that we have been totally excluded from this deal with Australia. Who's
Yeah,
involved? Australia, United States,
Great
what
Britain.
and Great Britain.
Yeah,
And we're
yeah.
we're excluded. Australia is included, but we aren't. One more illustration of the low regard that other countries have and other people have for Canada, this great country of
Well,
ours. I mean, God, go ahead.
I know it's just sad. Australia actually has been really standout in terms of standing up against what China tries to get away with the bullying. And I just find there's this odd, constantly turning back to try to butter up China and closer relations and stuff. I mean, you had the show on Going Green yesterday. The Canadian government approved the sale of a mining company in Canada that owns a lithium mine. The mine's actually located in South America, but they approved the sale of it to China,
Yeah,
right? And we know China's got sort of this predatory approach to getting what they want, and they want to corner the market on. This is not related to what you're talking about today, but generally it's kind of this international foreign affairs, and we don't seem to have any plan. We just seem completely naive.
I couldn't agree with you more. Let me ask you a direct question, Paul.
Yeah, sure.
This seems so obvious to me. These missiles we have in storage. We have a group of business people actually that even volunteered to pay to have them shipped over to Ukraine. They really want to help Ukraine and said, listen, we've got these missiles here. We will pay to ship them over to Ukraine, get them over there. This is more than 2 weeks later, and they still. Why would Trudeau not do this? It's not as if we need them. I mean, you would think that this would make him look good to say, hey, look at what we've done. We've discovered these Harpoon missiles. We've just sent them over there. Like, I don't understand, even from a political point of view, why he would not do that. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Well, it's hard to say. I think it's, if nothing else, it's total incompetence. The other thing is that Trudeau seems to just have this track record of being able to make a lot of impassioned speeches and stuff, but when it comes to doing anything, he's a complete no-show. And maybe this is another category where let's see the rubber hit the road, and let's help these. I think everybody agrees the Ukrainians are so brave and fighting. The president actually refused a flight out. It was a kind of, he said, we don't need flights out. We need bullets coming in to
That's
help
right.
us. And around the same time, Trudeau went into hiding in some location in the Ottawa Valley, secure location, because a bunch of truckers showed up on Parliament Hill.
Well, John
What a
Iveson,
shame.
please read John Iveson's article. As I say, you can Google it if you don't get the post. And he headline, you hit it. His headline is "No weapons, just words." Thank you, Paul. A
Yes.
very good call, and I appreciate it, sir.
Thanks, Will.
Thank you.
Bye.
I got to get a word in here for our good friends at Shields. Going to head up there tomorrow. Going to say hello, and we're going to pick up a couple. Actually, one of the things that I don't know, John. I love pork chops, and this air fryer that we got makes wonderful pork chops.
You got to do a roast pork.
Yeah. So okay, you recommend a roast pork?
Oh,
All
Yes.
right. Well, we'll pick that up tomorrow with Shields. Just to remind you that in addition to being the number one appliance dealer, as far as I am concerned, in the entire Ottawa Valley, Shields has got a great little butcher shop too. It's just one more indication that whether it's furniture, mattresses, appliances, technological equipment, whatever it is, but it's particularly appliances. Every kind of all the major manufacturers and some of the minor ones, different price ranges, colors, sizes, etc. Shields. Go to the website and just have a look. Check them out. Give them a chance. They're local, they're family. Shields.ca. Thank you, John. Back to you.
Paul, that was a great call. We appreciate that very much. And thanks to everybody for sharing this on your social media. We really appreciate you. The number here, 613-413-2217. I believe my question, Tony says, as a former military member, I can tell you unequivocally that you do not have to follow unlawful orders. Thank you, Tony. I appreciate that. Peter says, commanders on the ground in the Ukraine allow the troops to do it. Could be some of those foreign fighters working for Russia also doing the brutality. There was reports on Fox and Newsmax of these rent-a-thugs going to the front lines.
Let me just jump in here. All the big talk now is about war crimes. This instead of shipping weapons, we're planning war crimes trials. Well, what good is that? First of all, I mean, we would have to catch Putin and these other soldiers. Look, what Ukraine needs now are not war crime trials. We don't need a Nuremberg. Maybe when this is all over and we actually can catch Putin, well, okay then. But what they need now, they need arms, they need help, they need everything they can get. They need medicine, they need food, and they need our freaking missiles. War crimes, why all of this talk about war crimes trials as if this is really accomplishing something? It's pure and utter bullshit. That's what it is. Go ahead, John.
Yeah, that's way down the road. 613-413-2217. Here's a text. The mercenaries that Putin brought in from Syria are no better than terrorists and are probably there to murder the civilian population. They are worse than predatory animals. Trudeau has to consult her Staub before he does anything these days. Let's go to a comment from Carrie. Canada is not mentioned in regards to any negotiations down here in Florida. Craig says Stephen Harper and Pierre Poilievre would have acted already. The Liberals are tied up at the hip with China, and we know China doesn't want to act against their real friend.
As a matter of fact, China.
Pardon me, red friend.
Yeah, the official China news agency is siding with Russia on this, claiming that all of the pictures of bodies, etc., and stories of about brutality and mass murder, genocide, that it's all fake stuff. China is going along with that. This is a great friend of our liberal government, China. Go ahead, John.
Another text in at 613-413-2217. Canada's Anti-Terrorism Act needs to list Russia as a terrorist group. Putin swims in the same toilet as ISIS. That is
but yeah, that's fine. Okay, I have no problem with that. But how is that going to help Ukraine today? I just feel that we've got all of these politicians, including at the United Nations, useless, tits in a bore. But all the big talk now is about war crimes, and so as if this was accomplishing something. That's not what Ukraine needs. They need bullets. Don't give me war crimes trials. Give me bullets. I mean, any damn fool can see that. Go ahead, John, please.
Yeah, that's skipping to the end of the movie. It really is. Anne says Canada doesn't get invited to the party anymore. Here's an email from Lisa. The address here, by the way, Lowell at blasttheradio.com. Lowell, I find in general people have lost compassion overall. They don't give a crap about anyone until they want or need something. Then they want everyone else to drop everything they're doing to come running to help them. That's the mentality here in Canada. Send weapons. Sanctions only hurt the regular people. Does little to hurt Putin. Chrissy's on Twitch. She says, they ask, then give it. Period. Where or what is there to deliberate? No common sense. Eileen says, it's sad to see the president of Ukraine on TV begging Trudeau and Biden for help. James is also on Facebook. His comment is, every day Justin brags about all his talking. This is a joke. We can see here. Anne says, nobody wants to get their hands dirty here, says Anne on Facebook. Let's go back to Jennifer. She says, any weapons we have sitting in storage, rotting, are a great help to Ukraine. Sadly, Zelensky is getting a rude awakening, just like we have. That Trudeau is nobody's friend and not to be trusted. Not Prime Minister.
And you know what? That's a very good point. And don't think Zelensky doesn't know this. He has been very blunt. I don't know if you saw his address to the UN Security Council. I mean, he pulled no punches. He said, look, if you can't do anything, then dissolve yourself. And he's absolutely right. Here is the UN Security Council for which we contribute a lot of money. And absolutely useless here. I mean, the Security Council is there supposedly to ensure the security of nations around the world. Well, here we have very clearly a contravention of security. And what is the UN Security Council able to do? Bugger all. Go ahead, John.
Again, the number 613-413-2217. We got a couple of minutes left, so if you want to jump in with a phone call, you are more than welcome to do that, and I will get you on the air with Lowell as soon as possible. All right, James, every day the PM brags about all talking on Twitter. This is embarrassing. Laurentian View Terry on Twitter, communists have no damn conscience. Terry says, kick all the Russians out of the NHL, especially the Great Eight, the great friend of Putin. Here's another text. Too much talk, not enough action. People here can only be over there by watching the news, then turning off the TV. And
just before we go further, I just want to, sometimes people join the program in process. I just want to once again invite everyone to read John Iveson's column in the National Post today. If you don't get the Post or it's not in the Post, and by the way, it's interesting, the Ottawa Citizen doesn't carry this, okay? I suspect that the Toronto Star doesn't carry it either. But if you don't have the Post or don't have access to it, you just simply Google John Ivison weapons, and there you'll see the whole story. It's entitled "No Weapons, Words, Just Words," and he is pointing out that we have somewhere between 120 and 200 Harpoon missiles. These are anti-ship missiles, very effective. They are in storage, gathering dust. They've been there for several years. We don't need them because we have ordered new ones, new modern ones, and in all probability, very shortly, these Harpoon missiles will go into the scrap pile. On 2 weeks ago, or about 2 weeks ago, a group of Canadian business people asked Trudeau to send them to Ukraine. They even offered to pay for the shipping. Trudeau did nothing. John Bazin, who is a conservative, has talked personally with the defense minister of Canada, saying, please send these. We're not using them here. Send them. These are anti-ship. They desperately need them. And then Zelensky, the president of the Ukraine, in a personal telephone conversation with Trudeau about a week and a half ago, asked specifically for these Harpoon missiles. Please send them, he said. We fear there is going to be an amphibious invasion near Odessa from the Black Sea. These weapons, these Harpoon weapons, may deter him, may stop him from attacking. Two and a half weeks later, the missiles are still in storage. The dust is gathering thicker and thicker. I'm asking Liberals and NDP, you support these parties. Why? Why won't you ship them? We don't even have to pay. We've already got them. We're going to put them into scrap, so it won't cost you any money. This group of business people will pay to have them shipped. Why are you not sending them? Can someone please tell me? Please tell me. Why aren't you sending them? John, I think we're right out of time here.
No, we've got Jace on the phone. We've got 2 minutes left on the show. If you want to take this call real quick, we can go to it.
Jace, go ahead, please.
Jace, go ahead.
Good afternoon, Lowell.
Yes, sir.
This whole thing just makes me sick to my stomach.
Me too.
Absolutely sick to my stomach. Unbelievable. I was talking with one of my clients who came in last week, and I said, can you believe what the Liberal government is doing? And her answer was, well, we can't trust the Conservatives. And I said, pardon? She says, well, the very second they get back in, they're going to bring back in abortion controls. And I'm like, what? Are we still back at that?
Yeah, apparently.
This is unbelievable. And it's like, where have their minds gone? I'm going to call. Here's what I'm going to do tomorrow morning. I'm going to be calling my local MP's office. I'm going to ask them about the Harpoon missiles. I'm going to ask them about how we feel about what the Chinese are doing, supporting the Russians' claims that these whole civilian deaths are just an actual fallacy. This is unbelievable. People need to get on the phones to their MPs today, tomorrow, right away. I'll be happy to report back on Friday, Lowell.
You know, we talk a lot, but even the Canadian public, by and large, now there are obviously exceptions, but they just don't seem to care. John, you said something to me just before we went on the air, that this is not the same country it was 10 years ago. Really I submit to you, no matter who the leader, that we would not have put up with this 10 years ago. We would not have allowed our missiles to sit idle while they're desperately needed by brave people.
Well,
go ahead, Jason.
Well, I do have one good idea.
Yep.
Maybe we could get Justin Trudeau and the rest of the Liberal Party to take those Navy submarines that we have on the East Coast and do a couple of laps of Peggy's Cove. You know,
they still haven't figured out how to stop the water coming through the screen doors and the subs.
That's kind of my point, sir. That's kind of my point.
Jace. Thank you, Jace. Thank you all. Some excellent comments today, particularly the phone calls. I really appreciate it. We've got to be concerned, folks. This is a great country. We have a great history here. We're good people. We're honest people. We're people with a conscience. Let's put it to use, please. Thank you. We'll be back.
The Lowell Green Show is seen and heard live around the world at 2 p.m. Eastern. Connect with us online at blasttheradio.com/Lowell Green. Can't join us live? Download the Lowell Green podcast. Available on Apple, Spotify, Google, and more. Ask your smart speaker to play the Lowell Green podcast. This is a production of blasttheradio.com.